Welcome all you late night people. You are up late with C and D. I am your host, Denzel, and I am here with my co-host,
Christian.
And tonight we are going to discuss a topic that we just ended up coming up with, and that would be
video games that we believe would make bad to terrible live action movies.
Just the worst movie you could possibly get. So
maybe not the worst, but pretty bad.
I mean, well, it would be close to Avatar: The Last Airbender bad. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into a little bit of this list. The first one that I had on there was Jet Set Radio Future. Now, if you don't know, Jet Set Radio Future is a game that takes place in this weird, funky looking world where the main characters are forming a group together, and they're rollerblading graffiti artists. So they're tagging stuff up all over town.
Now, that is a good game. I did enjoy watching that game, and I've played it a little bit.
It was amazing.
However, I find that it would probably be poorly executed in a live action movie.
I feel the same way, which is why I put it on here, but then I read over it again and I thought about it and I said, holy shit. Could you imagine literally a world almost exact of what Tron is? But it's rollerblading graffiti artists. Could you imagine the crazy shit they could do with that? They can make like the graffiti like glowing, or dude, like that would be some crazy shit to watch. That would be awesome. So like awesome. I had mixed feelings like after I read it.
It would be awesome to see, but what would be the end game?
The story of the game was they were fighting against this police officer that was like high in power. They were trying to stop him. So I mean, the story would still be solid. You know, graffiti artists running from the cops, trying to stop the police. You know, so I mean, the story would still be good. And then like with the CGI now, it would just be like whoa, like that sounds amazing.
If they could pull it off similar to how they did Tron,
right?
Then I could see it.
So I would put it on both lists, honestly. Because it could be a really good movie, or if it's the wrong person, really bad.
And it seems like that might be the flaw with a number of the movies on this, games on this list. It just depends on who takes the reins.
Who takes it? I mean, even then, like you can have the best person take it, and the smallest thing could mess it up.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So that was the first one on there. The second one was
Crazy Taxi.
Yes, Crazy Taxi.
Now that game
be an awful movie.
it would be terrible. It was a pivotal part of my childhood because I did enjoy.
It would be awful,
game, but it would not work.
Like I don't even have too much to say about Crazy Taxi. That would just be, it would be bad. So I mean,
it just wouldn't make a whole lot of sense.
No,
it would probably be as good as that movie Taxi
with Queen Latifah.
Yes. While there was some enjoyment to be had in that movie,
it wasn't that bad though. Yeah,
it was not a quality film, I should say.
Yeah. So Crazy Taxi is definitely a no-no for us. Jet Set Radio Future, it's a little in between. The third one on the list, I could not think of a way they could possibly make this good live action. It's almost as impossible as Yu-Gi-Oh! And that was Pokemon. Like I was like, there's no way this could be.
The world of Pokemon is just far too expansive to,
like, there's no way to make
really
that
be done
like
correctly.
Right, like a solid live action movie like that would be really hard. Like I don't get, like that's not gonna happen.
Just I mean, the closest you could equate it to is that they do something like they did in that Jungle Book movie.
Oh well, yeah, that wasn't bad. So I mean, it could be possible.
So it would be possible to have it on screen. You would just have to kind of.
I think it would be a lot of work for whoever gets the job.
It would be a lot of work. You would have so many pissed off people.
Yeah, you would.
If you got it wrong. Next on our list is Kingdom Hearts.
Oof.
Great series of games.
Game is wonderful. Like, I wouldn't even want them to try this, because if they mess this up,
it would just not work well for anybody.
Like, let me remind you, this list is about games that would be bad movies, so don't get offended. But Kingdom Hearts, they would not do a good job. Like,
that would be some career-ending type shit.
Yeah, I can't see them doing justice to that at all, honestly. Like, that just, I don't know, man. Like, that would be rough to get. But the next one after Kingdom Hearts is .Hack. Now, I was a huge fan of the show. Games
love the show.
Are really good.
Games are great.
I can't see this being a good live action, just because I've seen what they did with something similar to that kind of world with Ultraviolet and Ghost in the Shell. I can't really see this being like a good live action just because of that. But at the same time, Kingdom Hearts, .Hack, it's still pretty unique, so I feel like they might find a way to do that.
I mean, not to beat a dead horse, but you could jump back to the Tron argument.
Right? Yeah, that's true.
Because Tron, at least the most recent one,
it was really good.
It was good, and it kind of follows a similar premise.
It does. So,
since that you kind of
stuck in a video game. Yeah. I see where you're going with that. Yeah. Okay. That's definitely one to think about, though.
But it would also depend on who takes control of the movie.
Always.
Because once again, wrong person gets control of this.
That's it.
It's over before it even starts.
I think you got the next one. Yeah.
Next one on our list is Naruto.
Okay. Naruto. Why do you think that would be a bad live action? We don't really need to go into the anime stuff, just for the simple fact that a majority of them that have been live action have been terrible. But
they do not do a good job translating anime to live action for the most part.
They really don't. Like, so Naruto is definitely not one that I would want to see. I know people do make little fan videos or whatever. Some of them are good, but I don't know if they could handle a whole movie, like a whole fan movie, making one of those. But
it would be good, but I would be kind of curious to see how they would handle all just the Jesus power shit.
Yeah, it just gets crazy.
It would just get ridiculous, and the CG budget would be out the ass.
It would be. The next one I couldn't see being a good live action would be SSX. So SSX Tricky, SSX 2 or 3, any of those, I couldn't see them being decent. It's literally people snowboarding, which, you can watch the Olympics or all year round, whatever, however you like to see it. But I couldn't see snowboarding being a crazy good movie unless they really do exactly what's in the game, and it's just the craziest stuff you can do inside of the game.
The only movie I ever watched that I liked, and it was primarily snowboarding and stuff like that, was way back in the day, the old school Disney movie, Johnny Tsunami.
He was wasn't he a surfer?
He was a surfer, but his family moved to Vermont.
Oh, okay.
And so instead of surfing, he was snowboarding.
Okay. The only one I could think of was I forgot the name of it, but it actually starred Matthew McConaughey, and I'm not a huge Matthew McConaughey fan, but he was a surfer dude, and it was a pretty good movie. So I actually just ended up watching it randomly one day. But the next one on the list is Anarchy Reigns. If you slept on Anarchy Reigns, didn't know about the game or didn't hear anything about it, really crazy type game. It's like a combination between Super Smash Brothers, Fallout, and some Future World. It's incredible game. And it's just, you know, it's a really good game. So Anarchy Reigns, I couldn't see it being a good live action movie though, just for the simple fact the main character is the famous voice actor who plays Marcus Phoenix, as well as Bender from Futurama. I can't really see it. Like I said, I just can't really see it being a good live action though. Like, it sounds like it could be, but I'm not really too positive on that. But the next one on the list is
Speedrunners. Now, Speedrunners is one hell of a game.
It is.
And if you get a bunch of your friends together, you will have
the time of your life.
Yes. Thing is, not a very good potential for a live action movie. One, I don't see the movie being very long.
You know what? I have to actually disagree now that I think about it. Because the new Speedrunner that I played for the next generation actually had a story.
Is that right?
It actually had a story. I am dead serious.
It's not just randomly. Just
no, it is legitimately a story, like to you running around the map and trying to beat the other person. Like, there's a story to it, and they did it kind of in like a comic book-ish type style. It was actually pretty solid.
Now that there's a story behind it, I can see it being a decent movie.
Right. See, I put these on here, and like some of them were before I got to actually experience like a new version of it or whatever. But Speedrunner is a crazy good party game. Definitely good to play with your friends. I mean, hell, even strangers. The new one is actually online, so you can play with random people. But Speedrunner could be bad, could be good. I'll throw it on both.
Depends on which version of Speedrunner.
Right.
If you go the story route, then sure, pretty good movie, I suppose. No story, not great.
Yeah, it wouldn't really. Without the story, it wouldn't be crap. But the next one on the list is Sleeping Dogs. Now, Sleeping Dogs, for the people of you that know, for the people of you that don't know, Sleeping Dogs is a story about an Asian cop who has to infiltrate these gangs and essentially bring justice to the gangs. But he ends up getting caught up because the people he ended up having to infiltrate were like his family, basically, before he left Hong Kong to go to America and then come back. But the game is essentially a Asian Grand Theft Auto.
Which does sound fun.
Right. It's like it was like the perfect mix of True Crimes and Grand Theft Auto. You were a cop, but it wasn't too focused on the cop aspect. You were a gang member, but it wasn't too focused. It was a perfect in between. So that's what it's like for those of you who couldn't really get a good picture or haven't played it. But Sleeping Dogs was really good, and yeah, I just don't think I could see that on there though. Like, not as a live action. I mean, you have to get Jet Li, and Jet Li's like the oldest. You know, he's old.
I mean, they do got some younger, up and talent martial artists.
I mean, they do. Yeah. They might have
got some Tony Jaws and some stuff and people like that.
Yeah.
Next on the list would be Dark Souls. Now, Dark Souls, for those of you who don't know, is pretty much this medieval type fantasy game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for anybody who's been keeping up with movies lately, they don't handle medieval fantasy very well anymore outside of The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings.
I mean, it's not just that though. Like, if any of you actually play Dark Souls, you know exactly what the game is. It's literally you rolling around, like
you're just rolling around.
You're rolling around, dodging, swing, roll around, dodge, swing, roll around, dodge, swing, block, jump.
If you just stand there and take that stuff, you are going to die.
So that is Dark Souls in a nutshell. Like, that would be a bad movie because nobody wants to see someone else rolling around. Like, nobody wants to see that at all. Like, I feel the creatures would be unique to see, but the battles would all be the same. The guy is rolling in a circle and dodging and swinging and
rolling.
Right, so
you would get dizzy watching this movie.
But the next one on the list is Darksiders. What can I say about this? this? Why would this be a bad movie? The simple fact that it is essentially God of War probably would be why it's going to be bad. And then, I mean, like, God of War would be better to do as God of War. It's easier to do, but
yeah, throwing in trying to make Darksiders a live action movie. It would be a touch easier, I would say, mostly because the game itself does take place in a more modern world, so you wouldn't have to.
well, I mean, Darksiders 1 takes place in the modern world. If we're doing the second one, it takes place in more of like a mystical type setting, like more of a fantasy setting. Because, I mean, you're talking to giant trees, you know, you're doing a bunch of weird stuff. But, I mean, Darksiders 1, yeah, that would technically be easier to do. I mean, it's not like they haven't done some stuff like that, you know, the angels and demons thing on Earth with the fantasy, like, you know, that's been done. So, I mean, I don't know.
It would probably be somewhat similar to like the Thor movies, but with the four horsemen of the apocalypse instead of, you know,
Right.
Norse gods.
Yeah. So, I mean, I got mixed feelings on that now. That could be good, could be
The first
bad,
one
so.
could be decent.
Yeah.
After that,
Probably not. But the next and last for the list tonight is Fusion Frenzy. Fusion Frenzy, I could not see this being a good movie. Like, when I first wrote it, I was just like, yeah, it's probably bad too. And then I just now thought about it, and I'm like, fuck, this could be a great movie, because it's essentially what they've done with like movies like Death Race and, you know, stuff like that. Like the Death Race, and then the other movie where they like put the prisoners on an island, the last one alive, yeah.
Condemned.
So it could be good like that. It's, you know, a lot of the games, the mini games in Fusion Frenzy, they involve like metal settings, so they could definitely do some good welding, I guess, and pull that off. But at the same time, it could end up being bad,
Like all the other
ones.
movies.
And then what was that movie that just came out recently?
Which one? A lot of movies came out recently.
I think it was like a year or 2 years now. Something, it was like a desert Mad Max. It could end up being like, you know, it could possibly have like a Mad Max feel to it, or it could end up being really terrible. So,
like all the other Death Race movies.
yeah, every Death Race movie.
I liked the first one.
After that, yeah, it was just, you know,
it was not good.
yeah. But that is our first category. I'm glad you guys tuned in. Video games that we thought would be bad live action movies. Hope you guys keep tuning in. You can follow us on Facebook, of course. Facebook.com/gamerfolk91. Follow us there. Hopefully you'll be tuning in every week with us. We'll be doing this every week. We're looking forward to seeing you guys next time. So, with that being said, goodbye everyone.
Deuces.
We'll see you next time.